Hey guys, Arcade Geek here. Been a while since I've been able to shoot a video, so I apologize. I know I promised I would get these things out every week, and real life, unfortunately, as it does, takes over the hobbies, and I've been traveling with my job just pretty much 5 days a week for the last month. So we've made a lot of progress, and unfortunately, it's been Corey really doing the vast majority of the work out here over the last couple weeks. This is my first time out here in like 10 days, which is super, just not acceptable. I'm really trying to spend the time I can when I'm in town. But, again, sometimes my job with the amount of travel I have just kicks me out of town, and what are you going to do? So anyway, I wanted to shoot a video today of just sort of recapping what we've done over the last month. We also have a fair number of games that I'm now, as of this video, going to be announcing that are for sale. So there'll be a new post going out to Clav this afternoon. And at this point, we're sort of the 109 games we ended up getting, I think we've sold 50, like two. So, we're about halfway on the game sales. Pretty much as we've been fixing things, they're getting sold, and some things even in advance of us fixing them. So today I'm going to kind of just go over what's for sale, what's sold, and, the status of projects. We're going to be listing a fair number of projects, actually, so I'll be talking about those in this video of what's the status of a particular game, what we're asking for it, and what our thoughts are on some others that may or may not be able to get fixed. We're kind of running into a little bit of a parts challenge right now with mostly our Go7 monitors. We've got a few games that are really needing a new chassis, and we've just run out of them. So we've used the ones that we had, and the others that we still have are just beyond repair or have parts that are a challenge to get, etc. So anyway, let me just kind of get started here. So the first set of games are these Operation Wolves. The one on the left, it played fine. There were no issues with it at all, and then the board sort of froze up on us, and it doesn't do it every time, but it did do it. And so what we've decided to do is put these things as a pair. So you've got the one on the left, which was working and maybe still is. The monitor looks good, the gun control, it registers, everything on it seemed to work really good. The one on the right is the monitor comes on, the game plays, but the gun is not registering on the screen. So you essentially have probably two working boards, at least maybe one and some change on the other. You've got a working gun, you've got two cabinets. The one on the right maybe is probably the worst of the two. I think maybe the one on the left, the one on the left is the worst of the two, or the one on the right here. It's pretty nice. So we're going to put these together as a pair. So for $400, you get both, which you definitely can get a working game out of, if not maybe two. If you want to spend the time to work on the right side gun, you get working monitors, coin doors, the guns can be parted out. I mean, there's a lot of options you have with these cabinets. So two of them, 400 total, and you get a couple great games. It's one of the classic shooting games in my opinion. So this Galaga is sold. It's just out by the door to head out the door. This pole position, another one of our Go7 challenges. We have a working Go7 in the Arkanoid that we'll probably swap over to this one. The cabinet, as you can see, is nice. The game board works great. It's just really the monitor is what we're having the challenges with right now. It's blowing fuses, and actually blew a flyback, I think, too, is what Corey said. So it's got something, and we just can't continue to spend time on it. So we'll have maybe a part out. Maybe we'll take the Arkanoid monitor and swap it over. I'm not 100% sure, but the rest of it is good. So if you're in the market for parts for a pole position, boards included, we've got several boards that are working. This cabinet, as you can see, is in nice condition. So if you have a monitor, a Go7 or whatnot, you can buy the cabinet and swap yours in. But anyway, that will likely be coming up for sale. The Pango is sold right now. These ones have really been a challenge. We sold a lot of all of the games we've sold, the 50 or so to this point. Only one lot really were we unable to get some of the games working. And Pango works. It's just really light. The screen burn is, as you can see, is fairly substantial. It's got a couple games that are in there. The game plays fine. There's no real issue with it. It's just, the screen burn. And that's just not something that we have the parts to do anything about. So that is what it is, unfortunately. The baby pack was failing the self-test. We've now have been able to get it to pass, so it's working better. We've got some new parts and another play field and whatever. We just haven't got to that portion of the game restore yet. This pole position is working fine. Works great, actually. Game is actually out for sale. I think we have it priced at $600 right now, which is a claw price. It's higher on Craigslist. So that one will be coming up. A little bit of cabinet. Some of the artwork is peeled on this side. But other than that, I think it's in pretty decent condition. A little few cigarette burns. Unfortunately, everybody smoked in the 80s, and they all love to put their cigarettes right on the back side of that, which I'm sure everybody here that's watching this video has seen. This one is sold, our sort of ghetto packs, so it's sold with the Galaga. It's got this hilarious stenciling, and it is what it is, but it'll become a project for somebody. Probably, unfortunately, they're going to turn it into a 60-in-1 is my guess, but it is what it is, and it's sold. The Blitz and Showtime, this is one we're going to part out. The monitor works well. The wiring is just a little iffy in it, and the cabinet has a fair amount of water damage, and so I think it's just something that we'll probably part out. So game board, if you're interested in it, we've got the control panel with controls as well, monitor, whatever you want out of this, just let me know, and that will definitely be something that we are now going to part out as of this video. The Ghosts and Goblins, we've got a little bit of board work to do on this one. A couple of the chips were a little crusty, and I just need to pull them and clean them. I think that's really the challenge here. There's a collapse on the monitor as well that we need to work through. Cabinet has some damage, which is unfortunate because, looks to be like a dedicated Ghosts and Goblins. But I think that's probably one we're going to end up parting out. So I really kind of wanted this game for my house, but as I'm looking at my space and the games that I already have in the staple for sort of rehab and restore, this is just one that's not going to make it. So the marquee, the bezel in fantastic condition, the control panel, obviously a little dirty, but look at it, it's nice. And the game board. So we'll be putting a package together of those items, I would say sometime here in the next week, maybe 2 weeks, as we start to push towards the end of this project. So if you're in the market for Ghosts and Goblins, let me know. I think most of the boards I've seen are trading lately around $300, but I think that this marquee and bezel and particularly the control panel are probably going to add a lot of value to that. So probably going to be somewhere in the $500 to $600 on eBay is my guess, maybe $500 claw, $600 eBay. So if you're in the market for Ghosts and Goblins, a kit, and a really nice one, let me know. Let's circle back around here. You're going to notice obviously a lot of empty holes now. We really have, started to make some headway here. And even of the games that are still left, about 10 or 12 of these are actually sold and just waiting to be picked up. Deceptron, this one works, just need to, do the cosmetic work to it. So that will be one that we will be tackling here soon. Paperboy, this one is sold. We're having some challenges on our Paperboys. What do we do? What all? We did a million things. We capped the monitors. We bought new potentiometers for the controls. What else do we have? New gears for the controls. And we've got both of them, and they work. It's just the controls are not really 100%, and it's a little frustrating. So I don't know what else to do at this point on these two Paperboys. We've just, I think we've exhausted our skill level, and there are obviously people in the world that know way more than us. So maybe these will be something we can sell, and your local guy, will know how to fix them. But that's where we stand on the Paperboys. We rejuvened. They look better. The monitors are coming in much nicer today than they were before. It's just the controls that we're having the challenge. The Pac-Man Plus, this one is going to go out as a project. It's playing blind right now. So we've got, a few things that need to be done. The control panel is missing, but I think we've got another one of those control panels in the back room. So if you're in the market for a Pac-Man Plus, you can see it's got pretty nice artwork, and game needs to be cleaned up. Obviously, it's dirty. But I'd say probably in the $400 range for this as a complete project. It's probably going to be because the new control panel and the new parts that we'll be including. But I would say that's going to be around the price. Dragon Spirit here is sold. That's in the lot with the Pango and Omega Race and Paperboy and a couple of the other games. Going back over here, the Tapper, Corey's going to keep that, so that is not for sale. The Gauntlet 2, I think now is working. So we have a $1,000 offer on it. The controls were just all rebuilt. That was really the challenge with it. The monitor had a little bit of screen burn, as you can see, but it plays nice and bright and crisp when you turn it on. So I think this is one that we will get sold here in the next week or so. Like I said, we had the offer on it. So unless you're wanting to beat the offer, I think that one's going to be sold. The Arkanoid, as I mentioned before, the monitor, we capped it, and it actually looks really nice now. So that probably is going to be one we swap into the pole position, because I don't know that there's a lot of demand for Arkanoid right now, this version. And I think this is still the cabinet that I want to restore over the other one you're going to see shortly, and turn this into my 20-in-1. I have one of the the Hanaho Taito 20-in-1 multi-boards that I want to put into a restored cabinet. So I think this is the one I'll probably take of the two. Sinistar, game works great, just the speech board. Same lot from the guy. It's just the worst luck. The 5 games that he's picked, 4 of them have just been a challenge. There's just, a lot of work that needed to be done. We got most of the work done that we could, but parts are challenged sometimes, and finding speech boards for Sinistar is just not easy. You run searches on Clav and you see a ton of them that have sold. It's just, you got to wait for somebody to list one. But the game's in, I think, fantastic condition. You look at the side art, it's really nice. The controls, the artwork on the front, everything just super. It's just that speech board. Final lap 3, there's something going on with the pedal there. I think Corey's replaced the switches there and just has been unable to get it working. So it's probably going to be a project that we sell. Again, we haven't spent a ton of time on it other than the easy stuff. But final lap 3, I don't know, is in huge demand. So it'll probably be something we send out to Craigslist for, $300, something like that, see what happens. I mean, the game itself is in good condition. I think the board was working fine. It's just, obviously in a racing game, you want to be able to, step on the gas and drive. And right now, that's what needs to be worked on. Asteroids haven't done anything with this. We don't have a chassis for it, so obviously I have some work still to do on that. The battle zones. So these, I think that we're going to end up at this point. Sorry, moving stuff out of the way. I think we're going to end up at this point selling these as projects. This one here is I think the more uncommon of the two. It has the flat front. I think the game itself is in pretty good condition considering, the age and the size and whatnot. And the game is complete. We're just having issues with the power supply right now. So if you're in the market for a battle zone, I think given the rarity of this sort of flat front, as opposed to the one that you'll see later that has that sort of periscope, probably going to be around 500 or so as a complete project. So if you're in the market for that, that's pretty much our price point on this. Obviously, I have not cleaned this or done anything, so it will look much nicer when it comes time to go out. But if you're handy at all and you want to take on a Battle Zone project, this is a great one. This Bubble Bobble, this is actually a Craigslist pickup. The game works great actually. The monitor is a little washed out and needs to be recapped at a minimum. But I think I don't know what I'm going to do. I might sell this as a complete game, or I might take the Bubble Bobble stuff off and sell it as a kit. You've got a marquee, you've got the bezel, and you've got the control panel, which the control panel is filthy, but a lot of that will come out once I get inside and take the plexi off and clean it. But the game board works great as an original. It's not a bootleg copy. So if you're in the market for Bubble Bobble, I think most of the boards I've seen lately are selling, not the crazy asking prices, but actually trading at around 300. So I think I'm probably about 500 on the kit. You would get the control panel, bezel, marquee, and the game board. And really, if you want the wiring in there and the harness, I'm happy to include that. So anyway, that will be coming up, or even if you want the whole game, just let me know. Daytona USA, these are going to be part outs or sold as projects. I don't know, there were mice living inside, how that goes. Some of the wiring may have gotten chewed, we don't know. But we plugged them in, and all the game boards are, the red lights are coming on, but that's all we've really done to these. It took us a long time to even get inside the damn things the day we had to try to drill and get them open. So if you want to, make an offer on parts, or if you want to just make offers on the whole thing, or game boards only, or whatever, just let me know. But these are for sale. This Street Fighter II Champion Hyper Fighting, this is in the red Z-back. A little bit of water damage, but nothing massive that you can't, fix with the wood hardener and, some Bondo and whatnot. Really need a cap kit on this, but I think this is one we're going to part out. I don't have an asking price on this. I meant to figure that out before I started shooting, but this just jogged my memory. But probably, somewhere in the 400 to 500 range. It's working. It's I think, in my opinion, at least the best of the series as far as the boards go. And you've got the bezel and the full controls, and the Z-back cab is uncommon as well. So anyway, that one is for sale. The Star Trek Captain's Chair, it's complete with the exception of the back plexi, which I understand. I think somebody has repro'd those. I saw something online about it. I didn't dig into it, but We're going to still try to get this one working. We're just hoping to get to these larger projects next month. With me losing a month to work, we really are behind what we wanted to do to work on some of these things like the Discs of Trons and Captain's Chair here, and some of the other bigger projects that are some of the more valuable games. But anyway, we've had some offers on it as is, and probably other offers on, hey, when you get it working, I'm interested. So we'll be cleaning it up and getting it for sale. But I'd say that it's probably 3 weeks away before we can even do anything with it. Discs of Tron, same thing. Game works. It just needs the cosmetic work. It's cut in half, as you can see. So we've got some things that we still need to do there, but that one will be coming up for sale. And we have all the back glass and all the artwork and everything. It's just sitting in a box in the other room. So anyway, all right, let's go into the next room here. In here, what's left? Let's see, the Joust. So this one I put on eBay about a month ago. I put it on for a fairly high price at $1,500 or best offer. The best offer I've had to this point was $1,100. I reached out to the guy to see if he wanted to do something off of eBay for the $1,100 price, and I didn't hear back from him. So I don't know. I mean, it was an offer through eBay, but some people don't want to do deals outside of eBay where there's a little more control. So game works great, looks great. There's really not a lot wrong with it. Probably on the left side there's a little section at the bottom that is missing. You can maybe see it down there. But other than that, I mean, it's an amazingly sort of uncommon, rare cocktail. I've seen most everything I've seen is that there were 500 of these that were made, and a lot of times when you see games where there's such a small limited run, they're titles that nobody gives a rat's ass about, and this is one of the best, in my opinion, titles. Certainly one of the great Williams titles of all time. So anyway, if you're in the market for this one is for sale, and our price probably gonna be $1,100. So let's see, Street Fighter 2, I think Corey was working on this. It needs some work, but I think this is one he might want to keep. Actually, he's been looking for a fighting game, so I'm not sure if that one's going to actually be for sale or not, but it needed a cap kit and a few little bit of board work, just reseating some chips and whatnot. I think it's now functioning. Paperboy, I mentioned these in the other room. It's just the controls. That's it. The game itself is, the boards work. The monitor on this one looks better. Just need to work on the controls, and regardless of what we've done, it's just not fixing the issue. The Omega Race, there's some parts to it there. I'm going to talk about it on the other side here. This game is already sold, but we were unable to get it working 100%, so I'm waiting to hear back from the buyer to see what he wants to do, because some of the games that he had bought are going to end up being projects as opposed to complete working games like we had hoped. We just don't have the parts for it. So the bezel's down there. I mean, the game itself cosmetically is in great condition. Just the board is only rendering some of the graphics, not all of them. The Kangaroo here, this one, we've got the control panel, which is in really nice condition. It's up on top there, as you can see. We've got the bezel, which is nice. The game art itself isn't bad. The artwork, it'll clean up. Certainly would look better than what it does today once I get in and do something with it. But no game board and no marquee. So probably going to be a project, probably somewhere in maybe the 250 to 300 range, I think, as it sits, with a really nice control panel, really nice bezel, the cabinet's original, it's got the harness inside. You just need a game board, which those aren't too pricey, and a marquee, which you can get easily enough as well. This battle zone, I don't know that I'm going to be able to get inside here for you guys to actually see this, so I apologize. This is pretty cheesy. But it's in good condition overall. It needs to be cleaned. This one won't be a complete game. It's missing the board, and I think the power supply is pulled on it as well. It has the periscope front that I mentioned before, but I'm going to clean this one, and we're going to sell this as a project as well. Probably around 300 as it sits, considering that it's pretty good cosmetic condition. Just would need a game board and a power supply are the two things that we know. Star Wars, still need to work on that. We've got Shroud up there, and we've got the Shroud in the box down here, and we've got all kinds of parts for it. We'll get to those next month. The Defender, this one's kind of kicking our butt a little bit. We've got 2 board sets for it. There's 5 boards per game, and it's just the combination of trying to figure out what's working and what's not working, and then getting around to doing the chip work if there's burning ROMs and whatnot that need to be done. So we'll get to it eventually. We've spent a fair amount of time on it already, and have not been able to resolve the issues. So we will see. Going into here, the Pong doubles. Corey's been working on this. Oh, well, it's on. Let me turn that off. So he's been working on this. You can see the bezel glass front is down there. We've gotten it to the point where it's working, as you may have just saw, with the exception of the right paddles are not rendering. So there's probably some board work that needs to be done on it, and I think that's just outside of what his skill level is, and certainly mine for sure. So I think this will be one we clean up and probably sell as a project. It is a rare game. I don't think you see Pong doubles very often, and it's original and complete. It's just, you know, the board. So I don't know what we're going to ask on that, but we'll come up with something and see. Probably around 500 is my guess, given the rarity of the game. Maybe 600. I'll have to talk to Corey to see. But you have a mostly working Pong doubles. All right, this is just an empty cabinet. Probably going to convert this into a 16-1. We've got parts to do it. Just need to get around to do it. The Play Choice 10 is in fantastic condition. This is one I think Corey is keeping, so not for sale. The Burger Time here is sold, bought and paid for, just waiting on pickup. So if you're watching this video, let us know when you are going to make arrangements for that. The Robotron here, this is probably one I'm going to keep. I mean, the original controls are inside, so I can get those swapped. The game works great. It just has a bunch of cosmetic and cabinet work that needs to be done. I need to cut some of the section off the bottom, etc. So I ordered new stencils for it and everything else. So I'm kind of looking forward to that project, but it'll be one I probably do, you know, after this is all said and done. The Escape from Robot Monsters here, you know, cut in half. I've talked about this already, but I don't know if anyone wants the cabinet or parts to it, let me know. Mr. Do, this one is done and for sale, so I think we've got 400 on it as well. Game works great. So, Circus, this is a new one. So we've decided just to sell this as a project. I kind of wanted to do the work. You know, these Exidy titles are fairly uncommon, and this one is in pretty good condition, as you can see. The side art is mostly intact. The front bezel is very clean, controls, etc. It's just, we don't have time for more projects. So the only thing we know for sure, we plugged it in and the power supply had some voltage issues. So got to start with the power supply and work from there. But the game will be sold as complete, including the monitor, everything else. I think we'll probably ask 300 or 400 on that. I need to talk to Corey, but I would say somewhere in that range for a complete project. It could simply be as simple as just rebuilding the power supply, which take somebody that knows how to do it no time at all. But for us, we don't have time for more projects. We got to start moving some things. The Blitz 99, I did snap the tube on the neck off the tube, as I mentioned in the last video or so. But we're going to sell this as a project. So the chassis works. The controls are sitting up on top there. So if you're interested in a Blitz 99, we've got a working board. We've got a control set you can have. The harness, obviously. Even has that cool Nintendo 64 sort of memory card deal that, you know, we can include. So just let us know what parts you're interested in on this and make an offer, because we have not priced it out. I haven't even looked to see what Blitz 99 boards sell for these days. All right, the Wurlitzer. So the amp on the right, we've just not been able to get a hold of the seller to get the amp. I don't know that he knows where it is. He said he bought and had one rebuilt. I don't know. It's maybe somewhere in his shop. I don't know. But he's kind of gone a little AWOL a little bit. So we're trying to reach out to him to get out there and look around. Just have not been able to make time to go and meet him. So box of new parts on the top. It might be sold as a kit. I don't know what we're going to do with that at this point. The jukebox on the left, we plugged it in. It lights up, everything spins around, but it wasn't playing a record, so the little bit of work or whatnot, we need to look at that. The Journey, as you can see, we're actively working on this as well. So at this point, we really need to rebuild the sound amp cassette interface board, and because the game plays great, it just doesn't have sound. I did find a new cassette player, which is the original version that came with the game. And then I also got a new looping 3-minute tape, which you can't see it, it's back there. So that will, you know, we have all the parts to complete it. The only thing that won't be original on it at the end of the day is the cassette itself. Everything else will be just as it was originally. So the game is sold right now, which, you know, I think we got 2,800 on it. One just sold on eBay for 3,600 this week. So I think 2,800 seems like a really good price. Hopefully the seller is excited. They save some money, and hopefully we'll get this thing working shortly. I've got to get out and buy a bunch of transistors and parts. You know, they don't sell kits at Bob Roberts for the cassette interface board, so I've got to get out and do that so we can finish it up. So that's got to be the issue. There just can't really be anything else. The Tempest, we haven't worked on this at all. We've got kits for the boards and power supply and everything else to do in there, but that's on the list. The Arch Rivals is for sale. I think we're going to like 250 bucks, put it on Clav. The game works. It's in a Bally xenophobe cab. And so if you're interested in our Tribals, or you want to convert it back to what it was, or make it something else or whatever, just let me know. But that one is $250. Dartboards, we've got the 5 of them. There's the one in the corner, and we've got this one here, and then there's 3 in the other room you'll see shortly. Those are for sale. We're going to sell all 5 for $800. So we've not really tested them. The only one I've actually even plugged in was this one, and the little monitor came up and everything lit up. And so I'm assuming that many of them work. I don't know, but you're going to get a bunch of parts, and you'll get nice cabinets and everything else. So if you know how to work on these things, or maybe they don't even need a ton of work, but if you're interested in a big lot of them, let us know. The pole position, I think Corey has this one working now. I know the boards are working fine. The power supply was a little iffy. I think he had to rebuild that, and that's good. Might need to cap the chassis. I don't know what he's done on this, but I know he's been working on it over the last couple weeks, so I expect that this one will be coming up for sale in the next week. So if you're in the market for a pole position cockpit, let us know, and we're happy to accept offers, but it'll be coming up shortly. Coming in here, we've got the Miss Pac-Man. We haven't done anything to that one yet. The monitor is pulled. I think that is one of the monitors we've got in the other room, so that shouldn't be a problem. The Galaga, this one is just booting to garbage right now. There's a few cabinet issues with it, but nothing that's ridiculous. We have 6 or 7 boards, and I think Corey's plugged them all in, and none of them immediately booted. So, there's a few things that we need to spend some time on and get it running, but this one, I'm optimistic that we'll be running soon. I think, as you can see, he's been working on this recently. Popeye, this one's working and ready for sale. So I think we have this listed at, I think it's $600. I think it's higher on Craigslist, but I think $600 is the price for Clav and those of you watching this video. So if you're interested, let me know. We recapped the monitor, replaced everything in there, and it's a beautiful picture. Game lights up. I think looks pretty good. The cabinet overall is in pretty good condition. The gel coat gets pretty messed up on these over time. A few nicks here and there, but nothing drastic. Really, just I'd say the side art's probably all you would want to replace. The left side here obviously is missing more than the right. Other than that, it looks pretty good. Moving on, Donkey Kong. This one I think is now working. It's on hold for somebody, so I need to obviously put it back together and just clean up the controls and whatnot. But I think what this one is done at this point. Corey mentioned that he'd done some work on it, so I think it's working, but probably sold. The Asteroids Deluxe, we pulled this monitor out to work on the Omega Race just to see if because we knew this monitor worked, and wanted to see if we could get the boards working on Omega Race. So we need to bring it back. It just needs a black light, so it needs to be cleaned and then have a new black light installed and then have the monitor put back in, and this one will be for sale as well. I think we've got $600 on that one, somewhere around there. Duck Hunt, it's got all my stuff on it, but I haven't done anything with that since the game seems like it works. We just need to drill the lock or open it up and get inside and move this piece of wood out of the way that's fallen. It was messing the game up a little bit. Mr. Do, this one works. I think it's on Craigslist for hire, but $400 is our asking price on it. But the game works great, no issues. Here's the balance of the dartboards, so you can see them a little better today as we've sold a bunch of games out of here. I've been able to sort of spread things out. As you can see, I've got a new, I don't know, whatever you want to call that. I think maybe the board's newer, but there's a new membrane and some other replacement parts there in the box. So anyway, $800 for those 5. Stargate, this one's working. I put a new control panel overlay on it. The game works great. I think the artwork on the side is in pretty good condition. There's a few little rough edges on the bottom, but nothing dramatic. I think it's $600. It's higher on Craigslist, but Clav price is $600 is where we're at on that. Defender 2, if you will, for those that don't know. But that's a great Williams title. The Star Wars we still need to work on. The brand new Rams control the oak is on top, and so I think we're going to sell that separately because these look like they would work fine. Superman, we're going to sell the kit, so it's ready to go. The board works great. You've got the marquee, you've got the bezel, which has a little bit of damage on it, but nothing ridiculous. And then you would get the control panel as well as the manual. So if you're looking for a Superman, you can see it's plug and play in a Nintendo cabinet. You'll get the control panel fully populated, the bezel, the marquee, and the board. So make an offer. Tron, as I've mentioned, is coming home with me, so I'll work on that project later on after this is all done. And let's come around here. Space Invaders, this one I think is now working. Pretty good cabinet. I haven't cleaned it yet at all. I need to replace a foot on the bottom as well, but I think Corey mentioned he did the monitor work on it. That's why it's pulled out. So this one will be for sale shortly. But I don't know what our asking price on this one is. Probably 500 is my guess. We've already had somebody, I think, make an offer at that level. So it might end up being sold. It might not. I don't know yet, but it'll be done shortly. This Donkey Kong Jr. works great now. The board issues I've mentioned in some of the prior videos, we put a new board in. We had a spare, and it didn't have that level skipping issue like we had seen in the others. So this one's on hold for the same person that bought Journey and one of the Paper Boys. Just waiting to get the Journey working, and then those three should be bought and paid for. Spy Hunter, haven't done anything to it. So still need to rebuild the control panel. We've got the 5 control panels in the back room. So we will get to that. I think Corey had just bought a Spy Hunter and I asked him to pull the control panel and bring it in so I could see what I need to rebuild, but that one should hopefully be done sooner rather than later. We do have a few parts. That's kind of it for the games, but the parts are going to be coming up for sale as well. So we've got a Dragon's Lair here, which is mostly populated. It's missing the sword button. And then that's a Star Trek. The spinner is on there, but missing the rest of the buttons. So the parts. Today is Sunday, the 18th or 19th of May, whatever. And I'm out of town this week for work. So my plan is to sit on next Saturday and just shoot photos and start getting these parts out. I know I've said that a couple times, but this time it's real. So you can see these stacks of boards that we have all inside here. And we've got more boards down there, and we've got that tub down in the bottom that has a tremendous amount of like control panel overlays and marquees and whatnot. And in here we have these, there's like 90 bezels that are in there. It's a big stack. More boards there, more boards over here. So what we're gonna do is sort of list working. It means that we've plugged it in, tested it out, it works great. Not working means that we have plugged it into a game and it is not working. That's it. We haven't done any troubleshooting. We haven't done anything at all to it other than plug it in. And then untested means we don't have a game to plug it in. We're not going to build a test bench for every board here because of the amount of projects and things that we have. So those are the sort of 3 categories of how we're going to be selling things, and we'll definitely be pricing them accordingly. So if it's a board we say is not working, it could be as simple as reseating chips. It could be you need to burn a new ROM. It could be a million things that are easy, or it could be something that's more difficult. So anyway, those parts will be coming next weekend. So I will be back on track for the 1 video per week at a minimum, and particularly once we start getting into the restoration of some of these projects, I'll be shooting hopefully a few more videos, or maybe just putting 1 video out of 5-10 days or whatever of work of a particular game restore. So I know that some people have anxiously been awaiting Discs of Trons and Star Treks, and I'm getting a lot of emails of when are you going to get to this, when are you going to get to that. Soon, hopefully. It's just been one of those things that real life has gotten in the way of the things that I'd rather be doing, and there's only so much you can do when you're only able to come out on the weekends. So anyway, that's pretty much it for this video. Hopefully I gave you guys another 10 or 12 games that are for sale as of this video. So a lot of new stuff being announced. A lot of hopefully sort of ETAs on other items. But as with anything here, if you want to make an offer, even if it's something I said we're not getting to soon, we've had offers come in on the Discs of Tron as is, and we just really kind of, not just that like the offers were bad, it's that they were great. It's just, I kind of want to do the work. I mean, it's one of those games. How many times in my life I'm able to work on a Disc of Tron and replace a bunch of artwork and just, take something that doesn't look bad, but makes, make it look sweet. I just think that's the fun part of this hobby. So really looking forward to some of those type projects. Even if we do a ton of work and make an extra $300, that's the type of work that I think is fun. Just tweaking a monitor and doing a cap kit sucks, quite honestly. It's not fun at all, other than the fact that when you take something that doesn't work and you make it work, there's a little bit of joy in that. But I'm more about the aesthetics of it and like to make sure that these things look good, and that's the cool part for me is the games that are in my house are fully restored from top to bottom, and that's kind of the way that I approach the hobby. Is I really like to make things look perfect. So anyway, if any of you are still watching the video at this point, I appreciate it. The Arcade Geek is my handle on Clav. That's the best way to reach me. You can always respond to the YouTube videos as well. I definitely read every comment and respond to as many as I possibly can. So if you have any questions, concerns, anything at all, definitely hit me up on a private message on Clav. But I'm on several other websites. The Arcade Geek is my name on all of them. And you can also search my name out on eBay if you want to follow and see when these parts do come up for sale. So the Arcade Geek there on eBay as well. Just follow me as a seller and you'll see it. But, as we go into some of these other rooms here, it's not just the artwork and boards and things, but we're going to start moving a lot of this stuff. So monitors we know we won't need. Other control panels. We have a ton of chassis, as you can see here. All this stuff is going to be coming up for sale in the next couple of weeks. We have a whole wall of parts here with new side art, new control panels, coin doors, tons of stuff for the Ampliphone, cap kits. We're going to be moving all of these parts. I know Corey will probably take a portion of this stuff, for him, because he's sort of in the arcade business. He's a lawyer by trade, but he does has a lot of side businesses and being an operator, and also just he's got a couple other things that he's working on right now that I'm not going to announce. I'll leave that for him. But anyway, I think some of this stuff will end up going to him, but definitely are going to price it out for sale and see where we're at with that as well. So anyway, I apologize. It's a little long-winded here at the end. I'm trying to make these videos a little more fun. It's awful because haven't been able to spend the time out here lately, but we'll definitely be spending more time here in the next couple of weeks. So some of these videos will be coming out sooner rather than later. Anyway, appreciate it, guys. Have a good one.